What's up, guys? Hope you are having a great day. Welcome back to another video. Today's video I want to talk about the games that happened yesterday, the NFL playoff games. The first one between the Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then the second one between the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get into the video. So obviously, as many of you know, the first game yesterday was very controversial. There were a lot of no calls. The refs were letting them play. But we'll get into that after I say this. Obviously, my keys to the game for both teams, Tampa Bay, was to run, and Tom Brady had to be elite. He had to play like Aaron Rodgers. He had to basically do everything right. He did have 3 picks, but he rebounded and still threw a lot of touchdowns. Still handed the ball off a good amount to Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette did a great job. And all in all, they did all the things they needed to do to get the win. And that's what good teams do. They find a way back, and Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl again. So there you go for that one. The Packers, I said Aaron Rodgers had to be great. He had to keep throwing to Devontae Adams. And the running backs had to be good because they normally haven't had a great running game this year, but they had to show up yesterday. They did a little bit, but not as much. And Devontae Adams had a decent night, not a great night. Tampa Bay did a good job of covering him and locking him up in the secondary, so that kind of stopped the Green Bay Packers from doing what they had to do and what they normally do, which is throw to Devontae Adams. All in all, the teams basically did what they did the keys to the game. It's just there were a lot of missed calls, and that's what we're going to get into right now, because I think the Packers did get robbed big time. So you Packers fans out there, I understand what you're feeling. The Browns got robbed last week because of a bad no call, and this week the Packers, y'all got robbed. I mean, there were tons and tons of pass interference calls that they didn't call. They were grabbing the jerseys, grabbing the horse collars. I mean, and the refs weren't calling it. And then of course on the last play when the Buccaneers had the ball, they called a pull on the Packers defensive back. It was pass interference, but at the end of the day, why didn't you call that for the other flags that the Packers could have gotten and they could have possibly scored and gotten points off of? So, to me, it was very bad, and I think those refs should be fined, they should be suspended or something, because that's just unacceptable in an NFL game, let alone an NFL playoff game. So, those were big no calls. I feel for you Packers fans. Bucks, you still got the win, so good win. But I'm sure that's going to be looked at for years to come, because there were a lot of missed calls in that game. In the next game, the Bills at the Chiefs. It was kind of one-sided, basically the whole game. After the first quarter on, it was basically one-sided. The Bills just couldn't stop. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, that Chiefs offense is unstoppable. Like I've told y'all before, y'all have probably watched them. They're unstoppable. They do everything right. They run it, they throw it. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. He does everything right. Their offense is always cooking. And they knew they had to show up, because they didn't show up really last week against the Browns. Or the Browns stopped them a lot, either one. But the Chiefs showed up last night. They got the win, and they're moving on to the Super Bowl. And for the Bills, I do feel bad for the Bills. Their story, just like the Browns, a good fan bases. They got this far. Sadly, they fell just short. They just didn't have... Their defense has been good all year. They just ran into a hot team in the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are like the Warriors or the Patriots. I mean, they're unstoppable. Not a lot of people can beat them. They're always going to be in the Super Bowl, and they're always going to be hard to beat. So the Bills did what they could. They tried, and unfortunately, they came up short. Josh Allen, he didn't have a stellar night because that Chiefs D-line was just pressuring him the whole night. If you watch that game, he was always getting pressured. And when you're getting pressured, you have a hard time finding your receivers, finding your way, finding your rhythm. So I think that's what really got in Josh Allen's head, and he couldn't really have a great performance that night. So, Super Bowl, and there really weren't, that game was a lot of chippiness, but there weren't really a lot of flag, no calls. So that game was just one-sided basically the whole game with the Chiefs. So there you have it, Super Bowl in Tampa, Florida. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are home. In 2 weeks, it'll be Tampa Bay versus Kansas City Chiefs. I can't wait to get into that, talk about that. I'll make a video next week probably about it before the Super Bowl. But let me know in the comments if how did your team do? If your team played yesterday, how'd they do? Let me know. Let me know about the missed calls, because trust me, I've seen all the missed calls and I agree with them. So go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Peace.